to another edition of Listen Up a Minute. I'm your host, Kawanda Crawley, and today I'm accompanied by Mr. Hal Miles, a dynamic hero within our community. But before we get started, I just want to welcome everybody back for the new year. As we kick off or dive into 2022, we'll be kicking off the first show, and we're going to be focusing on living your best life. Later in the show, we're going to discuss a little bit of what exactly that pertains and what that means to develop a plan or action plan for the year. But first and foremost, I want all of you to help me to welcome in Mr. Hal Miles, also known as Coach Miles. He's a native of Petersburg, Virginia. Hal is a motivational speaker. He's also an elder in the Church of Jesus Christ. He's a lifetime member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, an award-winning recording artist, a retired chemist of Honeywell and former plant production manager of Evonik Goldschmidt's, a school board member of Petersburg Public Schools, a Virginia Collegiate All-State champion, and a two-time Hall of Famer wrestler, and also a medical first responder. So welcome in Mr. Hal Miles.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. And how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. So Coach Miles, or can I call you Coach Miles?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Please.
So if you could just give us a little bit of background on yourself and how you kind of got known to everyone in Petersburg as Coach Miles.
Okay, well, that's easy because when I grew up in the Blandford community of Petersburg, the historic Blandford community, which is a part of the spear off from Pocahontas Island, which was the first free Black community in this country. Mm-hmm. And so it's a lot of history there, a lot of hologram there for us. And but after I finished Petersburg High and went to Virginia State, I had a chemistry scholarship to go to Virginia State from Hercules Corporation. Okay. And doing my orientation, because I was a wrestler, the wrestling coach saw me doing the orientation and asked me to wrestle for Virginia State. But I was actually there on an academic scholarship, and he paid the difference for me to stay on campus. Wow. So he paid my room and board. Hercules Corporation paid for my tuition fee and books. So I had a full ride to Virginia State once he did that. So at the end of my freshman year, I was in a car accident. Okay. And so I made it to the NCAA National Championships. I wrestled for the National Championship as a true freshman, 18 years old. And then that summer, we were going out, me and my brothers, we all work out. We were going to Fort Lee, and somebody hit us from behind. And I was driving a Mustang, and the key in the Mustang is right in the dash, right above your knee. So when they hit us from behind, my knee went up and the key sliced my knee. Oh, so wow. I had to have surgery on my knee, which it healed up 100%. Okay. But afterwards, that next summer, I decided to do something for the kids in the community because we had a lot of talent that people didn't know about. So I started my own track team, and I got a charter with the AAU USA track and field for $45. I went to Blandford Elementary School, and I went through the PE presidential physical fitness test. And I selected several kids to try out for the team. And we did very good the first year. The next year, we actually won the age group state championships. Oh, wow. And so they did very well. And then the following year, we made it to the national championship. It was in Fort Meade, Maryland. I had a couple of All-Americans, 10 and under, 11 and 12. So it's a lot of talent in the area. But that's how I started out coaching in college. I started my own track and field club.
Okay. How did it lead you to working with the wrestler? I'm sorry, his name is, I gotta find it on the paper here.
Mark Schultz.
How did it lead you to working with him? Because you started out working with kids, so. Yeah,
well, what happened was my senior year at Virginia State, they dropped the program. So I didn't get a chance to wrestle my senior year. Okay. And then after I graduated, I did clinics and was doing things like that, helping other kids learn and doing things during the summer. And then in 1984, Virginia State brought the program back. Now I'm a chemist at Honeywell, which was Allied at the time. Okay. And then we bought Honeywell and bought the name. That's how they got to change the name. But anyway, after I started coaching at Virginia State, I continued to do clinics and camps during the summer. And it was very profitable. So I set up different accounts with the foundation to have money for my wrestling program. And one summer, around about 87, no, it was 85, I got a telephone call, and it was from Mark Schultz. And he said, and my wife said, hey, is a guy on the phone named Mark? Say he's Mark Schultz. I said, what, the world champ? He said, yeah. He said, he want to talk to you. I said, okay. So I got on the phone. I said, what's up, Mark? He said, hey, man. I said, what can I do for you? He said, I heard all your camps make money. I said, that's right. He said, I want you to direct my camps. I said, well, my camps do make money. He said, well, all my camps been losing money. I said, okay. So we started working together. Okay. And what I did, I directed all his Olympic training camps. Wow. So we did them in different locations, and everything made money. I set everything up so it made money, and it was very profitable. So that's how we started our relationship. And while we were doing that, he found out that I was a real good motivator. So he asked me to be in his corner as the motivational coach.
Okay.
And it paid off in '88 when we went to the Olympic trials in Pensacola, Florida, because everything went wrong. Okay. And he wrote a book, and they made a movie out of it. And he credited me in the book for being his motivation, getting them through that trial, because we went through a big thing where people were misleading people, and he's supposed to receive $60,000 in a stipend each year to pay for his training so he can feed his family and take care of his bills, because he's training full time. And right before the Olympic trials, he was denied that stipend. So he decided he wasn't going to wrestle anymore. But we had a conversation, and it wasn't, I'm not going to repeat all the conversation, but it went a certain way where he was motivated enough to go back out there and show them who he was and what he was all about. And he wrote in the book, and he credited it to me. He said, that I was the one that motivated him to do that.
Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment. How does it make you feel to know that you helped him to move forward with something that his dream, something he believed in?
Well, it's almost, it makes me feel good, but that's what I do. I try to get the most out, the best out of any situation. You're going to have losses in life, but the thing is that we don't stop with those losses. People will see you where you are, but what they don't understand, they can see you at the top of that mountain that you climb, but what they can't see is your climb.
There you go.
And see, that's what they don't see. And see, once you create those bonds between each other, it's just certain things there. Sometimes words don't have to be said. We just have to look at each other. Yeah. And we know what's expected. We know that support is there and that strength is there. Yeah.
I always tell people, like, it's very good to motivate yourself. Do you feel like that's part of like your daily health? Because we're talking about, living your best life and getting yourself ready for a new year. Do you feel it's vital to just kind of uplift yourself and build yourself? Because you're a motivational speaker, so you're doing this for people all the time. Do you feel that self-affirmations are important?
Well, they have to face their realities. Everyone is not going to be everything to everybody, and they need to understand that life is precious. But if it's not precious if you live it fearful, because you're not going to be able to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Just like people told me, say, hey, you're not working and you're building a house. How are you going to do that? Well, give me more time to build a house. The thing is that you got to be positive. And my father was a man's man. He started something, he's going to finish it. So he made sure all of us were finishers. Okay. So the thing is that that's very important. Being a finisher, everything might not turn out like, but you'll never have anything if you don't finish.
That's true.
So you have to finish, and you have to set standards in your life to live by and to not be self-judgmental. And because everything is not going to, if everything goes right, goes perfect, where's the joy in that? It's true. The challenges that you overcome that make things special. And I tell all the kids that I coach, I say, hey, I need to prepare you for your worst day. Because on your worst day, that's when you're going to face your greatest challenge. And see, that's what we need to prepare for. It's not when everything goes right. It's when everything goes wrong. What we're going to do then, we're going to find out what you made out of then. We're going to find out what type of man you are then when everything goes wrong, because you can't fall apart. We got to finish it. That's true.
Takes a lot of inner strength, So you work with kids. you worked with Olympians.
Mhm.
Can you give me a little information on that video? That you have a music video out here, award-winning video. What brought on the idea of that
Well,
particular topic for your
that,
video?
well, that was a project that we took on, which ended up becoming a national project, which everyone was concerned with kids pulling their pants up.
Yeah.
And so we made the video, and it got recognized, and that was good. But it was the beginning of the video was the most important part, because it was a dialogue between mother and son about how he was going to go to school with a do-rag on his head and his pants sagging. And she corrected both of them right there, and then we go into the music part. But it was that dialogue was very important, and those are the type of things that have to take place in order for us to overcome anything or have an understanding. Dialogue have to take place. I tell people that the worst thing you could do with a young person is to have a dialogue with them when something is wrong. The best time to have a dialogue is before it goes wrong. And see, so the first time I address you, there's a problem. No, I need to talk to you before there's a problem. And with those, that's the thing. And a lot of people get in there and say, hey, I see it's into that kid, he got an attitude. I said, that's the first time you talk to him? I say, yeah, well, that's the problem. We should have been talking to him all along.
Yeah. Because when it's a problem, most time people will kind of bite back at you, you know.
But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, if people see, and kids, even though they don't know it, young people understand, because the people that care about you, they're gonna say something to you when they see you doing something you have no business doing. The people that don't care about you, they're gonna see you doing wrong and don't say anything.
Don't say a word. Yeah.
Don't say a word. Those are the ones that truly don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that video it definitely provided a positive message for my time back then in the 90s. It was a major issue. And I think a lot of times the young boys, they didn't see it as a problem. And the message that I got from it as a youth at that time was that we had to carry ourselves in a presentable manner, a respectful manner. I always felt like it was important, even now with my son at 16, I'm like, it's very important of how you present yourself the first time. And you're not presenting yourself well, you're not going to get that respect that you deserve.
That's true. And that's the name of the game. Respect. Name of the game is respect. And if people don't respect you, they're not going to include you in anything that they do, because they feel like you're not deserving, or they don't want to be around you, or for whatever reason. But the name of the game is respect, and in sports and in business, in the career, you need to do it in a way where people understand that you have not just the proficiency, the skills, but you have the efficiency, the ability to utilize your resources to the fullest. So they know that you're more than capable. And the thing is that I've seen a whole lot of people with talent, but they never took the time to learn the business to use the talent. So they end up being used by people that know the business. In the music industry, it happens all the time. You have a lot of people with talent, but they're not gonna make the money. The people that knows the business, the music business, them the ones that gonna make the money.
Yeah. And they have to understand, sometimes you have to, when you have that talent, you have to take the time to educate yourself about the behind the scenes part.
And see, with especially our kids, we have a lot of talent out there. But how are they going to educate themselves so they can get the most out of it?
Yeah. So bringing that video into the school system, it was beneficial. It was a very beneficial time to be presented, because it was needed. It was definitely needed. What do you feel like your experience with working with Mark Schultz helped you? How did it help you move forward with your career?
Well, in my career is actually separate from the Olympic experience.
Okay.
But the Olympic experience helped me far as confidence, self-esteem, different things like that, because a lot of people never achieved anything where they can say they were, even for a moment, they were the best in the world. To win, to have Olympic athletes, and we won a total of 4 world and 2 Olympics. Wow. That just being in that bunch, that we could actually say, hey, for a moment, we were the best in the world. Yeah. And a lot of people cannot say that. But see, we do, was it a given? No, it was a lot of hard work. And a lot of people don't understand what builds character. Hard work builds character. And if you're not willing to work the hardest, if you're not willing to work and understand that somebody out there is working just as hard as you are to do the same thing, no one is going to give it to you. It's disappointing when I see young people thinking the world owes them something. Yeah. The world don't owe you nothing. Yes. You need to understand that you got to utilize your time wisely. I said, and don't worry about the inevitable. And they said, what's the inevitable? I said, the inevitable is death. I said, because no one, make it perfectly clear, when we start out, understand one thing, no one is going to get out this world alive. All of us have to go. Let's utilize the time we have here to at least benefit our families, the people around us and different things like that. So you leave your mark in the world. I always tell people, I'm like, is you have to think of how my life and what I'm doing is going to affect somebody else, whether my example is going to help them to push forward. And I just never know how you're going to, impact someone when you meet them, even just out and about it in grocery stores. I'm like, if I smile, I might help a person out this day. So I'm like, a smile show one thing, inner strength. You're not afraid. You're strong, you're positive. A smile tells me so much when a person can walk by and give it to someone else. Yeah. And that changed the whole moment, and which can change the whole day. So it means something, it's very positive. But I see when I was a kid, I used to walk around because, teenage boy, you walk around with a frown on your face and make people think, don't say nothing to me. I don't want nobody saying anything to me because blessings. But the thing is, I had to grow and develop and understand that that wasn't really a strength, that was a weakness. Okay. And so it is. That's so true. So you incorporate a lot of mental and spiritual health in your life. I'm noticing that. Do you feel like that's important for people to do every day? Yeah, well, I tell you what, in order to keep from this world driving you crazy, you have to be spiritually grounded. You have to know who you are and God have a purpose for you and different things like that. And I tell people, I say, out of all the commandments that's in the Bible and all the revelations that there, I say it's only take 2 commandments to make this world a wonderful place. First of all, love the Lord thy God with all thy might, all thy soul, all that. And then the second one is love thy neighbor as thyself. Yep. If we just did those 2, look at all the problems it would eliminate. Yeah. We wouldn't even have to worry about the other ones. Yeah. Because if we could just do those 2, we can be, mindful of others. And we're not going to be doing the things out here killing and stealing and all that stuff because we're not going to be doing that. So the thing is that it doesn't take a lot. We have a tendency to think we can solve a problem with a law. I have a son and 2 daughters. Okay. I raised my kids. I'll give you a perfect example: abortion and drugs. Okay. When I was a kid, all the way up to 1978, marijuana was legal. Put it this way, it wasn't illegal. Okay. It wasn't illegal. What was illegal was distribution. Distribution of it, yeah. Okay, so if you had less than a certain amount, they didn't even take it from you. My whole time I was in college. Then they came out with distribution. Then they came out with locking people up and all that. Okay, and they said, well, what do you do now that this is legal again? You don't use drugs. I said, well, I teach my kids not to use drugs. I don't care what's legal. I teach my kids what I think is important. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. And they're going to make the choice to do what they're supposed to do, but that's what I taught them. Yes. So the thing is, the other one, abortion, I told my girls, I told my son, I said, this is way, it doesn't make any difference whether abortion is legal or not. It's what I teach you and what you teach your child. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Your grandmother was your great-grandmother was a single parent in Dinwiddie County, had your grandmother. Now, if she would have got rid of that child,
Mm-hmm.
none of y'all would be here.
Exactly.
So I hope, regardless of what you do in life, that you have enough love in your heart and believe in God enough not to throw anyone away God send your way. Do the best you can, and we're going to love that person and help raise that person as a family, as a community, because we're not going to throw nobody away God sent our way. Yeah. And I hope you have enough love in your heart to do that. Now, it doesn't make any difference what the world tell you you can do or what you can't do. I'm telling you, spiritually, you need to know, because years from now, you're going to sit up here and wonder what that would have been like if that person was in your life.
Yep.
And I don't want you to have no regrets when it comes to that.
I like how you put in there, how you said the community, and everybody plays a part in something like that.
That's
like
right.
we never think about, that child, that no child left behind. Like you never think about how you affected a child. You worked in the public school system, how you affected one child, and that child now may be 20, 30 years old. You never know.
That's right. You never know what a child gonna do.
Yeah.
So we're not throwing anyone away.
Yeah.
When people saying, "Oh, that's," I said, "No, we're not throwing anyone away. If God sent them our way, we're gonna do the best we can."
Yeah, because everything happens for a reason. You cross paths.
That's right.
For a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. So that's very important. Very, very important. And this, it's always that person's decision on what they choose to do. But when you have a great moral, foundation, that plays a part in the type of decisions that you're going to make, especially as an adult, because we do what our parents tell us as a child, but once we're grown, we're like, well, you can do what you want to do.
And parents need to understand that too. See, we're not going to be the only influence in their life.
No.
So we need to make sure what we say, they understand it in a way where they can help them make decisions. And they might not go the way we want them to go. They're going to go the way they want to go, but they're going to have the tools to do it. And see, that's the most important thing. We gave them the tools what they have to use.
Yeah. Because earlier you were telling me that, you built your own house, that was something right. that your father taught you and all your brothers. And I'm sure you probably shared that skill with your kids. I'm like, and one day they might share that with their kids.
Well, that's true. My son, we just renovated a house for him.
Okay.
Right at the beginning of COVID. His wife was expecting their first child, and COVID broke out, and he came to me in January and told me that he wanted to renovate this other house. So we took a look at it, and the contract wasn't right. So it was a house that needed to be totally gutted, renovated, because he wanted to buy a house at first, but the funds were not there.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, okay, what you can do if you want a house, let's find an old house
and redo it
that we can get real cheap, because it's disastrous.
Yeah.
And take it and gut it and fix it up. And that's what we did. The house looked brand new, and we didn't do any financing. What we did, we used 2 credit cards, and we renovated the whole house with 2 credit cards. And so he got a house paid for, and then he got to pay off the credit card.
That's easy. That's not bad.
Yeah, so the thing is that I said, regardless of what you do not get a mortgage on that house during this time. And because if a credit card has no collateral, so if they give you bad credit because you didn't pay it, big deal. The house still paid for. But the thing is, you got a house paid for out of it, and inside and out, everything is done. We redesigned the floor plan. We gutted everything and put up all new everything, new floors, everything. Even took out a couple of floors and rebuilt it. Wow. And so it worked out pretty good. It worked out really very, very well. Good so plan. He has the skills also.
Yeah, and he's going to teach his kids one day those skills.
That's right.
Like keep going on, generation to generation. And I feel like that's important to make sure that we're giving our kids the things, and even kids, may not be ours, but
that's right.
Working in the school system, that's what all of you have done. I never worked in the school system, but I feel like that's an important factor. That's an important role to play, because you're touching so many kids' lives. That makes
you do
a big
get a chance. Yeah. That's why I enjoy doing coaching. even though that wasn't my career path, but that was a passion of mine.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's almost like your professional development. You've had so many. You were a chemist, you were a coach, you were a motivational speaker. You're doing so many different things, but it made you who you are. It was all part of your life, your story. So it's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, it's two things that I really instill in people that I come in contact with. They say, "What's the key to your success?" The first thing, you need to learn how to live within your means. So you're not stressed out when it comes to finances. When I got married, me and my wife sat down, and we had no kids. So we sat down and we said, well, we're going to live within one income. And we're going to be able to use the rest of it to live well. And so we lived within that one income. And so it was time during our marriage where that she might not have a job. I didn't have a job, but we were never stressed because we always lived with one income anyway, within one income anyway. So that was something that we decided. So we didn't go out and buy the Mercedes. We didn't go out and buy the Lexus. We didn't do that. Yeah, we had a Prius and we had, different things like that. We had a Honda Accord, different things like that. But they still good car. They get you from point A to point B. And the thing is that, and then you have to have a discussion with your kids so they'll understand what love is. There are a lot of people, especially young people, they don't understand what love is. And they don't understand what it is. It's just like they sit up there and they, my youngest always tell me when I'm doing something, well, Daddy, that's what you're supposed to do. Everyone doesn't have a father that's doing what they're supposed to do. You need to understand that too, so you're blessed. But at the same time, you need to understand what love is. Love is not that infatuation. It's not that physical thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's caring. When you care, when you need to realize when you love, because if you care about someone, you're going to care that they're safe, they have the things they stand in need of, that they're happy. You're going to care about everything about that person. You're not going to just throw them away because you care. That's what love is. Now, if you're looking for something magical to happen, when you wake up in the morning and you care enough to say, I hope that person is all right, you got some love there. You need to understand that love, and you need to find someone that care about you. And the thing is that, and don't get wrapped up in a whole lot of other emotions, because you need to focus on what love is and be able to identify that.
Most time people, they have to, well, I won't say most time, I feel like that they have to have love for themselves, because
that's right.
People take notice of that when they see that you love yourself, physically, healthy, if you're a healthy person, spiritual, everything, then they come to you with a different type of love and respect.
That's right. You got to set some standards and guidelines and have communication, because a lot of times you end up with the wrong person because you didn't have the right conversations. If you'd have had the right conversations, then you'd have found out this a lot earlier. So sometimes those conversations take place, and you need to be able to do it in a way where it's not late, it's early.
I think as people get older, they figure these things out. Sometimes it's a little bit later than others, but they figure it out, and it always boils back to what they want for themselves. I'm like, when it's your career, when it's your spiritual health, everything, it's what you want for yourself. And that brings us back to the whole point of, what we started at the beginning, the living your best life is what you want for yourself. You had a plan. I admire the fact that you said you sat down with your wife in the beginning and said, this is what we're going to do. You talked to your kids, you had that relationship. You focus on what you wanted for your career, but you were doing what you wanted, if that makes sense. You were happy.
That's true.
That made the difference. That made the difference.
And that financial freedom we gave each other, because we lived within one income, two people living within one income. We had our whole household built on one income. And a lot of people say, well, how can you do that? Well, it takes a little sacrifice, but at the same time, it doesn't, because we had the resources in case of emergency to make it through. And the thing is that, so we gave ourselves that security by living within within that one income. And we always chose the lowest income. We didn't choose the highest income. We chose the lowest income. Sometimes it was hers, sometimes it was mine. So both of us were college grads, and we decided to do that. And it wasn't hard. There was never an argument there. Never. We took vacations.
Wow.
4 or 5 times a year because we had the resources to do it.
Yeah.
And because we lived within that, people said, well, yeah, every time I look, y'all going on vacation. I said, we give up a whole lot of other things so we can do that. And we're not spending money we don't have. We're spending money that we have. But the kids grew up from the time they were born, going to the CIAA, going on vacation, doing different things because we lived within that one income. And we was able to save and have, and we chose to raise our kids in Petersburg because Petersburg was economically in a good comfort zone to live within that one income.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Well, we have discussed so much, Mr. Miles, and we discussed the magnitude of your career, and we've talked about how important it is to practice, healthy mental, physical, and spiritual habits, which I feel that a lot of people, kind of bypass, but I'm so happy that you brought that out, that making sure that our spiritual health is addressed on a daily routine in order to be successful. Because when I look back on everything, when I read your bio, I was just like, very successful life, very fulfilled life. But then when I talk to you, I'm like, that happiness that you have from it.
Right.
People can work themselves to death and have all types of great, reach the level professionally that they want.
Right.
They don't have that happiness and that contentment. So I appreciate the fact that after I talk to you, I'm like, okay, you're helping me, because I'm like, let me sit back and look at some things just to make sure I'm covering every little avenue here. Because as we start the new year, we think about how we want our life to be. We're always setting those resolutions and things like that. But we have to be mindful of some important components. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time today to talk to all of us. And it was an honor to get to know you and to meet you. And as we move forward, I just want to say, I'm going to definitely put some of these tidbits into play. Anything you want to add before we end the show for today?
Well, thank you for inviting me. And thank Larry Brown Jr. and Larry Brown Sr. and everyone that's involved on your staff. And I really appreciate you, the consideration you gave me just to be a part of your show. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. It was an honor. And for all of you out there, until we meet again, I appreciate you all. Practice some of these habits of putting yourself first, making sure you have a great mental, physical, and spiritual health as you move forward into 2022. Thank you for joining us for Listen Up a Minute. Have a great one, everybody.
Okay.